Okay, welcome to part 2 here. We're going to put LOLCOMP through its paces. We're going to try this on vocals, on drums, on synthesizer, piano, guitar, bass, all this different stuff using the various chains in here. And so let's get right into it. I'm just going to kind of play around with this and you'll see right away how kind of intuitive this is. So let's try this on a female vocal first. Let's play this and we'll turn LOLCOMP on midway through.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
So you'll notice, this is something to kind of keep in mind, but what you'll notice is that there is a bit of an increase in the gain as soon as you turn LOLCOMP on. I'm okay with that because sometimes I just want the extra gain, but if you wanted to adjust that with the output fader, you could do that and level match things.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
All right, so that's more or less level. So now what happens if we crank this middle knob up here? Let's just hear what that does.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath. Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
That seems pretty good. Okay, bypass.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
On.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
So a nice polite amount of compression, which is nice. It makes it sound nice and full and alive already, just turning that one knob. And then let's see what else we can do here. I'm just going to tweak around.
Pull me.
I'm hearing a little bit of a plosive. So maybe I can low cut some of that. Actually, I'll do that in pre. So I'm just going to low cut a little bit. I don't want to shave off too much, but just enough.
Pull me, pull me, pull me, pull me, pull me, pull me.
Just so it's like not too much. So I think right about there sounds okay.
Pull me in.
Maybe I want to use a little levitate and just do a little subtle lean into the highs a little bit.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
Again, if you push this to favor the high, then you're going to thin things out. So obviously use your best judgment when you're doing this because it could make things too thin or too muffly. So just use it, by your best judgment. Maybe we'll try the awaken here.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
All right, so it's definitely introducing a little mid-range, but maybe we'll try haze and see what that does for the air.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath. Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
Okay, maybe not too much. Don't want to introduce too much harshness. And then just for fun, we'll try the different reverbs.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
All right, let's try a different one.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath. Pull.
Like a smaller room.
Pull me in.
All right, how about 3?
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
Even smaller room.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
I love the sound of that room. It just sounds great. I don't know if I might end up reaching for that room verb quite a bit actually.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath. Pull me in, pull me in.
Nice long haul in 5. Let's see what that does.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath. Pull me in, pull me in.
Cool. Now, just for fun, we'll see what that sounds like going through the Panda And that's the other cool thing about this plugin is you can set these things and then just try moving across the different chains. And hey, it might sound good, might sound bad, but you can try it very easily just by clicking around and just seeing how it works.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
All right, so it's adding a little bit of buzz or drive with the panda.
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath. Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
And this one's going to give us some distortion.
Pull me in, I'm still.
Yeah, so that might be a little much for this, but what happens if I turn it down?
Pull me in, I'm still holding my breath.
Yeah. So each of these, if you found that you liked something or some kind of characteristic in any of these chains, it might sound like a little bit much if you switch it, but then you just kind of tweak it so that it actually works, All right, so let's try a different vocal. Let's try a male vocal. I'm just going to go ahead and reset this. Let's go to default. Now we're using a clean slate. Here's what they sound like by themselves.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into my mind.
Cool. All right, now let's turn LOLCOMP on.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into my mind. I hope we're doing this for the rest of our lives. Baby, take my hand and we can go to paradise.
Okay, again, just like a touch more gain automatically when you're using this plugin, but nothing too crazy. Let's see, let's dial this big knob in here and see what happens with his vocals.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into my mind. I hope we're doing this for the rest of our lives. Baby, take my hand and we can go to paradise.
I feel like just by turning that knob, it not only gives it compression, but it like opens it up a little bit too. In the kind of the upper mids and highs a little bit. Not so much, but it just seems to liven it up just by turning that knob.
Late nights, we're
I think it's probably like a little muffly, so maybe I'll just reduce some of the lows a little.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into.
Maybe I'll favor the high touch.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into my mind. I hope we're doing this for the rest of our lives. Baby, take my hand and we can go to paradise.
See what Awaken does.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into my mind.
Maybe try doing the haze setting.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into my mind.
Okay, let's hear what that sounds off and on. So off.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise.
On.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Late nights, we're up till the sun. Late nights, we're up till the sunrise.
Cool. I mean, let's try that with a little bit of the mash. See what that does.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Late nights, we're up till the sunrise.
Huh. Yeah. Very nice. And then maybe we play with the mix and see how much to introduce, how much of LOLCOMP we want to introduce into this.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Your kiss is carved into my mind. I hope we're doing this for the rest of our lives. Baby, take my hand and we can go to paradise. Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Late nights, we're up till the sunrise. Late nights, we're up till the sunrise.
On.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise.
Off.
Late nights, we're up till the sunrise.
I mean, pretty awesome. You would have had to use several plugins just to get that result, but I got most of the way there by turning that middle knob and then turning a few of these other knobs, and it was more or less done. All right, then we have some rap vocals. Let's try that. Again, let's go to a default setting here. Back to default.
1950s, 186 Benz Mercedes, cruising past a room with some pretty ladies. 1950s, 186 Benz 1950s, 186 Benz Mercedes, cruising.
Okay, let's just start turning the knob and see what happens.
1950s, 186 Benz Mercedes, cruising past a room with some pretty ladies. Books small and they smile, always drive me crazy. To the sounds of crashing bodies, have them dancing way. 1950s.
Okay, off.
1950s, 186 Benz Mercedes, cruising past a room with some pretty ladies.
On.
1950s, 186 Benz Mercedes, cruising past a room with some pretty ladies.
I mean, what? One knob only, that's all I've turned so far. And then you can shape it further, but let's keep moving on here. All right, next we're gonna do some clean sounding electric guitar. Let's see what that sounds like first. All right, pretty basic, I think. Now let's turn this on and start cranking the knob here. Let's try throwing that through the Dragon chain and see what kind of distortion things we can get. I'm going to take the reverb off for a second. You can also push this fader and you get different results just by doing that. So let's play the guitar and push this input up a little bit. Let's just absolutely destroy it and see what happens. Okay, maybe that's a little too much, but let's dial it back and see if we can get something better. Cool, let's try the panda chain just for curiosity. Cool, that's kind of giving, I would say, like a more mellow saturation. The dragon is the more aggressive and more harder, more aggressive saturation distortion, and this is a bit more of a subtle, not a subtle, but this is more of a mellow, more mellow. You can just turn this big knob and just find the sweet spot. Cool. Let's move on to a different guitar. This time we'll try an acoustic guitar. Let's go ahead and set the default again. All right, back to default. What I liked about what this did was it really brought out the sound of the strings, the pick sound. You can hear the pick coming off the strings. It just, the detail kind of came to the front, which was kind of cool. It also evens things out. On the original sample, I feel like the dynamics are a little bit more. And then obviously when this is up, it's kind of balancing it out a little bit more, making it more level. Let's try that in the panda chain. Punch chain. Yeah, this one you can definitely hear those transients poking through a little bit more. That's because this does have a little bit of a slower attack. How about the dragon chain? Maybe I'll, lower the input signal a little bit so it comes in just a bit more gentle. I mean, I don't know if I love it, but there you go. Just different ways of using this. Let's move on to a piano loop. This one doesn't have any effects, just sounds like this. Just some nice acoustic piano in kind of like a small room setting. All right, so now let's just see what that sounds like. Go back to default setting here. That's another thing you can do is if you want to add a little bit more low end, you can use the levitate to favor the low end a little bit. And then, of course, if you do that, it's dipping out some of that high and mid high stuff. You can add that back using Awaken. Just in this case, I went to the haze setting and then I kind of cranked it up quite a bit to add back some of that high, mid, and high stuff. So check this, check it out. Yeah, so you can even hear some of the detail, like the clicking and stuff of the keys when you do that. Let's do this on and off. Yeah, how about mash? Let's just see what that does to the sound. Oh, we don't need mash, but I think this sounds pretty good how it is. Maybe we can roll off a little bit of tiny bit of low. I don't know, just a little bit. All right, try that with the Panda. Let's see what that does. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next sound here. This is a piano also, but this one I think has some reverb in it. Default setting. On. All right, let's turn this up and see what we get. Yeah, man, it sounds great. With the, it just makes it even more cinematic. It already sounds cinematic, but it just makes it sound even more cinematic by bringing out the reverb that's inside of the loop there. And now we got some Rhodes and organ. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, now with. Very cool, very cool. Let's go to synth and keys. Synth and keys off. On. Cool, yeah, so I didn't even turn this, not even halfway up, and I got something that I liked. Then I just hit the mash button, didn't even touch the knob, and it brought me some results that I liked. Yeah, just going for something creative, I guess. All right, moving on to the next stuff. Now we got kind of this pad right here is just sort of a chord progression. Yeah, so because you have like the low cut, high cut, levitate settings here, you can use this almost like an EQ. You could essentially mix most of the way, even with just this plugin. It's pretty amazing. So I just switched my cut settings, my low and my high cut. I switched that to pre, and I was even able to get a little bit more of a subtle buzz or drive out of the panda setting here. See if I switch it back to post. It's giving a lot, so I could dial it back. But something about it still sounds a little bit grindy, if that makes sense. So I switched it to pre. It just gave it a little touch. Now, you know, it's not always desirable to have some of that, but if you want to lo-fi things out a little bit, you might want just a touch of that. So that's nice little flavor. All right, let's try the dragon chain. All right, starting to get a little crackling in there. Yeah, don't really like that too much. Let's see what post does. Yeah. So in this case, probably the dragon chain is too noisy. Let's move on to our next sound. All right, go back to default. Well, let's start with a panda this time. Set that to pre, and let's just see what we get. Try the lol chain. Oh, you could totally automate this and do like a whole filter effect, you know, like a build or something. Just do like start it from pretty low cut like this, and then just gradually build it. Or the opposite, do the same thing but coming from the other direction with the high cut. Ooh, I kind of like what it's doing with the awaken there on our lavender setting. It's bringing some of that mid stuff in there. Check it out. It's bringing out certain elements that you couldn't really hear before. Ah, that's nice. What about the haze setting? Yeah, not so much on the haze setting. What's cool is you can just try different things. It's always going to react differently depending on the sound you put through it. This might be one of the first times, I think, in this little test run here where I use lavender, and I like the lavender better than the haze in this setting. Typically, I think we want to hear more of the high, sparkly stuff, but in this case, it's almost like mixing in another element in there that you couldn't hear in the sound before. And this is kind of like bringing it out, like highlighting it a little bit. And because of that, it's kind of creating like more movement inside of that sound. I don't know if you can hear that, but check it out. It's adding more movement. It's bringing out that texture, whatever that is. That's part of the synth. Pretty cool. So let's try this now on some synth bass. Make sure we're on default setting. Here's what it sounds like without LOLCOMP on it. Okay, let's put LOLCOMP on. I like how it's bringing out kind of the stereo component of that bass. But let's go to the Panda settings, since that's sort of the designated bass designer chain. Let's hear what that sounds like. Oh, definitely adding more of a fullness for sure. Yeah, I don't know that I would do much else to that sound other than just turning that knob. I'm telling you, this is kind of like cheating. It's a little bit like cheating. Let's try going to the next bass here. This just kind of an 808 sound. Let's just go straight to our Panda setting. Okay, now we'll turn this on. Don't mind that little chop in there. Just gonna level match this just to make sure we're not tricking our ears. Yeah. So yeah, just dial this up. I use a levitate tilt shift thing to kind of favor the low end a little bit more. That added a fatness to the space that I thought was kind of lacking. Then I put this mash on there and it really just brought everything else out. Let's just see. Let's toggle that on and off just to see what that does. it just brings everything right there. Everything right there in front of your face. Yeah. All right, let's try this same thing, but let's go with electric bass. It might sound okay in the context of a mix, but let's just see if we can fatten it up a little bit. Let's just start by turning the main knob. Okay, so compared to like the clean one, which already sounds pretty good as is, I don't know that I would actually do anything to this. But when LOLCOMP is on, well, here's the clean version. Okay, now on. Certainly adds a bit more attitude. Yeah, so it's just kind of adds a different vibe onto it, it seems. Let's see what that sounds like with the dragon chain, just out of curiosity. All right, we'll just turn all these off first. Ooh, right away it's getting some drive. But it seems to lose a little bit of the low end, so maybe we compensate with our levitate. Let's try easing up on the input so it's not so driven. Okay, there you go. So some of that low end comes back when we add our mash. We did add some of that with the levitate, but I think the mash really just brought everything forward a little bit more, making that bass a bit more present. Yeah, just options, you know. All right. Not too often do you see things happening on an upright bass, but now's the chance to do that. Let's go back to our default setting and run this through our Panda chain again. Okay, I think I like it up to around here. If I push it too much, then it starts adding a little bit of that saturation, distortion kind of effect, which I think obviously sounds really good on 808s and things like that. But I don't know that I like it so much on the upright bass. But what I do like is it's bringing out a lot of that room ambience. Like you can hear like the inside of the bass, like the inside of the instrument, the room. Now I just want to try this on our kind of lol chain. Not bad, but I actually do think I like the Panda one better. You can also hear the guy breathing now, like the guy who's playing, you can hear him actually breathing. Cool. What about the punch? That's nice. That is letting the transients come through a little bit more, but I think it's not bringing out some of that room ambience like the Panda chain was. And I just like that element in there because I think that's where a lot of the vibe actually lives, is like sometimes just in the recording itself. So sometimes bringing out some of those elements is like really nice to kind of color the record, if you know what I mean. And of course, why wouldn't we try the Dragon Chain? Again, I think I'm going to be conservative with this, so I'm going to just introduce some of that in. You can hear him breathing through his nose. That's insane. Yeah, so I'm just using a very conservative amount of the input here, just giving just a little bit, not much at all. And then I'm compensating for all the volume or gain that I took away, and I'm just trying to make up for it at the output stage. And then I awakened the entire kind of like room and ambience and breathing and all that stuff just using the awaken knob. Let's try that on the haze setting. Okay, yeah, that's getting only the very high stuff. So this is another case where I think I would go with lavender. I mean, you can hear the guy working really hard. That's what I think makes this recording cool. All right, so let's move into some drums. So let's go back to default. Let's try just a few drum loops of different kind of different styles. So this is just sort of a hip hop style drum loop. Sounds pretty good as is. Now let's put it through. Let's go through the punch chain. All right. All right, yeah, this time I'm gonna go with some funky acoustic drums. Let's check out what that sounds like. Okay, so I'm already noticing that this punch is actually giving me more immediate results with this loop here. The other one, not as much. I had to work a little bit harder to get what I wanted. But with this acoustic loop here, maybe it's because they sound a bit more raw and a little less treated. I'm getting more out of this chain. And I do feel like that snare is popping a little bit more as I turn this knob. Let's do a little level matching. This is a really good loop to actually audition these reverbs. So let's just check these out. So let's go to 5. Well, actually, let's go to 1 first. Sounds like a chamber, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like a chamber. Three. So, my opinion, I actually really like 3 for kind of the room sound. This sounds like a drum room to me. And then if you want something that sounds a bit more like an auditorium or like a hall, kind of like 3 and 4 for my those are my favorite. Oh, you know we got to try the dragon chain on this. Kind of reminds me of that drum break in Me, Myself, and Irene. When he's like when he's flipping out. So yeah, if you want some drivey sounding drums like that, this is kind of cool. Cool. All right, let's move on to our next loop here. All right, so we got just some drum and bass stuff. Classic Amen style drum and bass break. All right, let's check that out with LOLCOMP. Probably don't need any of this. It's going to just make it more harsh. There's a lot of energy. There's already a lot of energy in this sample, so I don't think you need to do too much in that way. But yeah, I got pretty much mostly what I would want just by turning this middle knob again, just kind of bringing out the elements that are already in there. Let's try the different chains. mean, that sounds kind of cool. I like what it did there. All right, here's another different style of groove here. That's pretty obvious with that kick drum. In the truest sense of the setting that we're on here, I definitely feel like we're getting more punch out of that kick drum. So off. Yeah, it just feels like there's more point and it's punching, like just punching right through the speaker. Let's play with it a little bit more. Cool. I actually really like what this is doing. The mash, I'm still trying to figure out if I like what it's doing, but what I do like about what it's doing is it is adding, I don't even know what you want to call it, but it's just adding a certain aggressiveness and power in this case. So I'll turn it off. That just sounds like clean and safe and great, but it sounds, you know, clean and safe. If I turn this mash on, it's just adding like a real attitude. So that's cool. Definitely learning more about this thing as I go. Let's go to our next drum loop here. And let's hear it. So it's a cool drum pattern. I recorded this years and years ago at a studio in New Jersey. What I can hear with this loop already is that it sounds a little thin to me. I feel like it could use more bottom end. So let's go ahead and try working that out. Let's go to our punch chain. Okay, so other than it bringing certain elements up, it's like beefing up the snare, it sounds like to me. See how thin the snare sounds? And this was a piccolo snare. I always play a piccolo snare because of a lot of the styles that I play, like drum and bass and trap, and a lot of electronic styles need kind of a high pitch kind of crack in the snare. But the way that this is kind of mixed is a little thin. And so with the LOLCOMP, just turning this main dial, it seems to beef it up a little bit. It's just giving the snare more body. I would say it's kind of doing that in general to the kind of the upper mid range. But yeah, I'm hearing it in the hats. I'm hearing it in the snare for sure. But I still feel like that kick drum is a little wimpy sounding. So let's try something. I'm going to go to levitate, and I'm going to levitate that to the left so we favor the low end a little bit. So let's play. Okay, so I am getting a little bit more of the fatness back. I'm going to use Awaken. Let's just see if I can open it up or compensate. I actually really love the presence that this is adding to the snare. It's bringing some of the tonal qualities and textures in the snare that I couldn't really hear before. It's just making it sound more present. Okay, now I gotta see what mash does. Well, okay, it seems to be crushing it just a tiny bit. All right, let's see if we can push this main dial a little bit more. Okay, before. After. Okay, yeah, and I'm tilting the levitate a little bit more to the left because I still feel like that low end of the kick just needs to sound a bit fatter. So that's what I just did to fill it out. Huh. To me, it even just, as I was turning that awaken knob, it even seemed to kind of give it more depth. So it kind of brought the snare forward a little bit, and then I feel like it created a little bit more depth as I tilted the levitate to the left a little bit more. It increased awaken. It's almost like we got more deep end, and we also brought out some of the mid range and the snare, giving it more presence. And it went from being kind of like a thin two-dimensional image to a beefier, more three-dimensional image. Check it out. After. Man, that's pretty dope. Not gonna lie, that's pretty dope. All right, so something we haven't tried yet, some strings. Let's go to our default again. Sounds already sounds already really good as it is. Obviously, it was really well recorded, and the players are great players. So it sounds good already. But let's go with LOLCOMP and just see what we can add to it. Maybe we can enhance it a little bit. So in the guidelines, it suggests that you use the lol chain for things like strings. So let's just go with their suggestion, and we'll just start as per usual by dialing up this main knob here, and let's just see what we get. Yeah, let's level match a little bit here. Okay, well, something I'm noticing in the recording actually is as the dynamic picks up right around here, it seems like it's driving the mic a little bit. Right, so I was wondering if that was something going on in the plugin, but I'm just realizing that it's not clipping. So it's not clipping anywhere, so that must be just in the recording. So this is definitely a pretty subtle and gentle application of this chain here. Let's see what happens when we start tone shaping a little bit. Actually, let's try cutting out some of the lows before it hits the compressor. And then let's just play with our levitate and see what kind of characteristics we can bring out. I also think that there's a bit of a crackling noise inside this sample. So some of Some of that's being brought out, I think, by the Awaken. I think I was hearing it before that too, but I think it is bringing some of that out. Um, but I do like the energy that it's giving it. Let's just see. So yeah, so with these settings, I think it is kind of bringing a little bit of life to it, a little bit of energy in the kind of mid range. It's also with the levitate. I think that helped to bring out some of the warmth of the recording and in the strings. So that's good. It is sounding a touch crunchy, but again, I think that's in the recording. Now I want to try doing a room. It's just a short room. Oh yeah, that sounds great. What about the hall? Which to me sounds a lot like just like an auditorium or something. Yeah, wow. Man, you can literally use this on anything. I'm not going to test it on every single thing for this video, obviously, but let's try it on a couple different horn loops. Here's the horn loop. So this one's a staccato loop. All right, pretty dope horn sample. All right, let's play around with it. According to the kind of guidelines or suggestions for things like horns or horn stabs or synth stabs, things like that, that got like attacks, short attacks or things like that, the suggested chain would be the punch chain. So we're going to go with that and just see. I love what that's doing. I mean, not only can you hear the attack of the horn, I can actually hear the initial attack of them blowing through the instrument, through their embouchure. Listen, like you can hear like the air before it actually goes through the horn. It like it goes through the mouthpiece. You can hear the mouthpiece, the breath going through the mouthpiece, then out the horn. Beautiful. Again, I have not touched any of the tone shaping. I haven't done anything other than just turn this knob. This is definitely like cheating. Let's level match. Okay. And we'll just play around with some of the tone shaping here. I don't think that I would do all that much. If I wanted to clean any unnecessary lows, maybe I'll do that. I mean, just even putting the mash on, again, it's an L2 style limiter, so it's kind of, you know, helping to bring things up to the same level. So it actually just makes it sound fuller just by engaging it. So I like what that's doing. Let's try Awaken and see what that does on lavender setting. Okay, it's definitely making it more present. It is introducing a tiny bit of harshness to me, but I do like it. And then you could always go and, soften that out or just dial it back a little bit. Cool. I'm happy with that. Let's try the same thing. Let's actually try this in the lull chain. Oh, so interesting. Interesting. There's actually a little bit of a tonal difference. Here's the punch chain again. And then the lull chain. So very interesting. There's totally different like characteristic in terms of the color of it. So at that point, it's sort of like what's your preference, and it's just a matter of taste at that point. All right, now we got to try it through all these different ones. Okay, panda, now peacock. So definitely that one sounds like it's got some clarity to it, but other than that, not a whole lot of coloring. Just nice and clean, I think. Okay, now dragon chain. All right, that might be kind of cool if it's like dialed, turned down and maybe high cut a tiny bit. Let's try high cutting it. That might be kind of cool with like a spring reverb or something like that. Yeah, so I think the dragon chain is really good if you're trying to do something on the creative tip. The other ones I think are very good for spicing up a sound a little bit, getting them to sound better, obviously for the different use cases that they describe. But so far what I'm getting here is that the dragon chain is very good if you're trying to just mangle something or just try to create a cool vibe, just something different or literally just to transform a sound into something other than what it is or just completely change the sound altogether. All right, we got one more set of horns here. This time I'm going to do long tones. We just finished doing some staccato short notes. So this time let's go ahead and try some long tones and let's try listening to this before LOLCOMP. Sounds really great as is. Let's try to see what we can get out of it with LOLCOMP. Now, since these aren't staccato notes that are short with lots of attack, these are long tones. I would say that these feel a little bit closer to maybe what a vocal would sound like. So maybe in that case, we'll try just using our LOLCOMP chain or the lull chain. And let's just try that. Okay, so just level matching there. And as I was doing that, I think I noticed this before, but it also sort of dawned on me. There isn't any kind of metering here on these faders, but if you did kind of want a reference point a little bit, um, you can use the brick layout here a little bit as kind of a metric if you want. So they kind of snap like this if you notice. It sort of lines up pretty perfectly with the cracks of those bricks. So just a little detail I noticed if you are using this and you need some kind of reference point. But that sounds pretty good just with the lol chain there. And I really like how it's bringing out the reverb tails. It's nice, very nice. Without. Okay, and then with, and then those reverb tails really just help to kind of connect everything. Yeah, so just something I noticed. And again, I don't know that I would do too much with this because it sounds pretty good as is. I think that just using the main knob here is bringing out most of what I would want. I might just, again, maybe I just carve out some of the low just a tiny bit, just to kind of clean it. And now we get to experimentation mode where we'll just kind of throw this in a different chains and see what we get. So let's go to Panda. Getting an interesting buzz tone on the top of that. Pretty clean with that one. Losing a little bit of gain with that, but let's just kick it up. And then, of course, we're going to go to our dragon chain. And that sounds pretty bad already, but let's just go all the way down and be more conservative about it and just add a little taste of it. Yeah, I don't think it needs much of that really at all, if at all. Again, this is going to sound better or worse on different things. It just depends. But what's really cool is just try stuff out. Just try different things out and see what happens. But as you can see, we've tried this on pretty much any... We've tried this on about any instrument that you would need to start a full band or have a full song. So, the next thing that I might try is actually to do somewhat of a mix with a bunch of elements only using LOLCOMP and then just see how far I can get without using too much more other than LOLCOMP here. Because what's great is you got your compression chains in there. Everything is done under the hood as you turn the main knob here. You can use the cut, the low cut, high cut, and levitate in combination, as well as awaken to kind of EQ things a bit and shape things the way that you would like them to sound. And you can add a little reverb if you want. and you can also mix in your processing to taste. So I love this thing. I think this is going to be one of my go-to plugins for my mixes, and I think it's going to save me a lot of time. I feel like one of the main benefits of this is probably that it will be a time saver. That instead of reaching for an EQ and a compressor and then another compressor and then a saturator and then a whole chain of different things, I think that you can probably get most of the way just using this, and then do maybe some touch-ups after this, whatever makes sense in your workflow, basically. But that's my feeling with this, and I think that's pretty good. So I think the next section that I'm going to do here that we haven't explored yet is I'm going to go and I'm just going to audition a bunch of presets. I haven't heard these presets yet, but I think I'm just going to kind of scroll through these and we're just going to kind of hear what they do without changing anything. Not going to mess with any of the knobs or faders or any of the settings. I'm just going to simply pick a sound and then pick a preset and just see what it gives me. And so that'll be the next portion. Right, so I'll see you in that video. Till then, peace.